WP Get. Get found. Real people, real solutions.
Okay, this is just a little video that I've created to demonstrate an idea that I got from the Elementor community forum where someone was talking about using spacer widgets as design elements, and it sparked my interest. So I started playing around with it, and I thought I'd come up with this little tutorial to explain what we can actually do with these spacer widgets that I hadn't even considered previously. So that's one of the things I like about these communities, like the Elementor Facebook community. Sometimes you get these little gold nuggets in there that, you know, start you thinking, you come up with a new idea, and it becomes part of your toolkit for design. So moving on, I've got just on a dev site here for just testing. I've got a new page and I've set the page layout to canvas, so I've got no headers and footers. And what I'm going to do is put a single section in, and I'm going to set the width to full width and the height to a minimum height of, say, I don't know, 800 pixels. Right, what I'll do now is I'll put a background image in there. Pick any old image, say these fish here, for example. So I've got a pretty simple section with a background image. So where it gets cool from here is I'm going to talk about how we can use spacer widgets for design elements. So what I'm going to do is end up putting some diagonal backgrounds over this image and show you how that works. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab a spacer widget and put it in there. Now that doesn't look anything by itself, but let's give it some style. So I'm going to give it a background color of my primary color, for example. Still not too flash. Now, what I'm going to do here, I need to do with custom CSS, because unfortunately the controls that we've got within Elementor don't really allow me to do what I need to do. So what we do is we drop into the custom CSS. I'm just going to copy some CSS across that I've already created, and then I'll explain how that works. So there we go. So all I've done is taken the selector for this spacer widget. I've set the top, I'll just change that, to minus 2000, the width and height to a square of 4000 by 4000, and the position to absolute. Now the reason we do that is because we want to have this appear off screen. So if someone's got a very wide screen, we want this to be covering off to the side of the screen as well. So we don't want it to sort of end all of a sudden. So that's why we make it 4000 by 4000, set a negative placement of 2000 so that it's way above the section, and obviously goes way below it. Now, the other thing that we need to do here is I'll show you, if I comment out this rule here, with the spacer widget, if we don't set the container height to 100%, it actually, because it's got no content in it, it just collapses it down to a height of 0. So putting the height of 100 on the Elementor widget under the selector gives it the full height. So that's pretty simple, and we can see here that it is 400 pixels from the left. So if I simply update this, have a look at the page, there it is there. If I move this page, I see that stays 400 from the left, and I've got all this overflow, which I don't want. So I go back here. Now, with the Elementor, what I have noticed is that there is in the layouts, if I go to the section, I go to the layout, you can set the overflow to hidden, and it does actually work. So if I go here, see my overflow is now hidden. But in the editor, it gets overridden somehow. So what I do for that is, while you're in the section, go to the advanced custom CSS, selector, overflow, whoops, hidden, and you have to make it important. If I could spell it correctly. And that way it cuts the overflow off in the editor as well. Alright, so let's say we want to make another one of these, but we want to give that one, first of all, we'll give that one some transparency so we can see it. Where am I? The background. Select that color and give it some transparency. So we've got a diagonal overlay with some transparency. Now that's going to stay 400 pixels from the left-hand side. Now let's say I want another one of these, but I want it to be relevant to the right-hand side. So I'm just going to duplicate that spacer, go into the advanced settings, and I'm going to make that from the right. And because it's 4,000 pixels, I'm going to have to probably go quite a bit. So if I go right minus 3,000 pixels, that puts it there. So if I make, say, 3,500 pixels, that puts it over here. I'm going to change the background on that. And I'll just make it a solid color. So that's my accent color. Space there. Save that, sorry. Now if I refresh this page, I've now got two sections. This one's opaque, that one's transparent. And if we look here, so as I change the size, the transparent blue will stay 400 pixels from the left, but the right hand side one is relevant to the right hand side, so that moves across. So it gives us a really cool collapsing effect. And where I would use this is, let's say now we want to actually put a title, so I'm going to put a heading into this box. I'm going to right align it, and I'm going to make that white. Okay, you can see it's actually below the spacer, so I need to move it above it so it sits on top of it. Make it nice and big. Whoops. So make that my primary, make it nice and big. I'll duplicate that and make that a H3. Smaller, maybe add a button. And align that to the right. Take this. If I have a look at this page now I've got this section here on the right hand side, and as I slide across, because this right hand green section is relevant to the right hand side, it doesn't collapse on my text. So it's a really cool way of keeping your call to action text, whatever it is, on that right hand side. If I wanted to add some padding in there, I can, in that row, that column. So padding on the right, move it across. See the whole lot's moving because this is relevant to the column. Go back to that spacer. So it's the second spacer, we'll call that the green spacer. Make it easy to find. Get the spacer, go to my custom CSS, and let's say we don't want it that far, we want it actually maybe 3,700 pixels. No, it's too much. 600. 3,550. That puts it right there. Refresh. A bit of spacing on the right hand side, and this angle will stay relevant to that text because it's aligned to the right. So how cool is that? So really, really good design effect using spacers. So I hope you get some value out of that.
WP Get. Get found. Real people, real solutions. Call us on 07 3708 1021. Visit us at www.wpget.net.